Hello, my name is Evan Garner, and I'm a sophomore in the horticultural science department here at NC State. And I chose to do my project on coffee rust. So, coffee rust is the disease that occurs when Himalaya vastatrix infects Coffea arabica, and this disease occurs throughout Africa, Central America, and South America, where coffee is produced. And so this pathogen is believed to be um, native to Ethiopia, and that's where coffee is native as well, kind of the birthplace of coffee. And so coffee is typically found in it's an understory plant, and it's grown in the shade, and they're typically spaced out, and they grow in a highly biodiverse ecosystem. And and that's where they thrive and that's where they do best. But in the 1800s, coffee became very popular in England, and it put a lot of pressure on coffee producers in Africa to figure out how to increase their yield. And so they began to plant coffee plants in full sun and a lot more dense than they had previously. And this is when coffee rust became an issue, when the coffee plants were under more stress, and um, the pathogen was able to spread a lot easier. So this pathogen is can be seen by the eye as an orange rust pustule on the underside of the leaf. And the main issue with this disease is that one pustule can produce up to 150,000 spores, and they do not desiccate, and they're wind dispersed. And so, in a very dense planting, they can spread very quickly, and it's just a very effective pathogen. And so, I decided to do a painting of coffee rust, and this is one stem from a coffee plant, and you can see that there's only two leaves, and that's because many have already fallen off because eventually coffee rust will defoliate the entire plant. And so these are the cherries. This is the fruit of a coffee plant, and where coffee starts. And these cherries are dried, and the bean is separated from the cherry, and then it's roasted, and that's how you get coffee. And so you can see on this leaf all the yellowing from the disease, and the spores would be on the underside of this leaf. And this is kind of the symptoms that you'll see in any field where there's coffee rust. You'll see these brown lesions surrounded by a little yellow margin, and you'll see just a lot of chlorosis and a lot of yellowing of the leaf until it eventually falls off. And here on the underside of this leaf, you can see it's just covered in the orange rust pustules, and then they'll disperse from here and move on to other plants. So that's what the pathogen looks like on a coffee plant, and I did my best to represent it in this painting. I just used a canvas and some paint and tried to display all parts of the plant. And so the main issue with this is that the economic impact is so huge. Coffee is an international commodity. It's grown all throughout the world, and the impact it impacts the farmers when their plants are overtaken by coffee rust, and it also affects consumers of coffee by driving the price up of coffee and that sort of thing. But producers have adapted by beginning to grow their coffee in shade in less dense fields, and it's helped reduce the disease. And there's also a lot of breeding projects going on to breed varieties that are more resistant, while also maintaining those desirable traits that make a good cup of coffee. So it has a huge economic impact, and that's the main issue. And this is also just an explanation of what coffee rust is. And I hope you enjoyed my painting and enjoy this presentation and understand a little bit more about how coffee rest impacts us. Thank you.